Your business feels like a cage. You feel trapped, and even though you own it, you still feel like you're not in control of it. You built a business quickly through a few opportunistic acquisitions, and you've recruited, hired, turned over, and replaced a handful of associates. Are you even doing this leadership thing right? You seem to be replicating failures, and your dreams of success are mired in mediocrity. Mediocrity of clinical outcomes, mediocrity of operational performance, and mediocrity of financial results. You're not certain what business ownership was really supposed to be all about, but it surely wasn't supposed to be this. Welcome to the Next Level Executive Podcast, a show dedicated to dentists who want to evolve from a clinician who owns a practice into an executive who leads a business. I'm your host, Perrin Desports. If you own a practice that generates over $1 million in revenue and you're wondering what's next, you're in the right place. Is this what you even want to do anymore? You're exasperated and frustrated with your team and yourself. When was the last time you had a decent night's rest? When you go on vacation with your family, are you really on vacation? You're always thinking about the business and waiting for the next crisis to hit when you have to rush back to save the day. When you started this journey in your mid-30s, you had no idea this is what it would look like a decade later. And as you approach your 50s, you start to wonder how much you have left in the tank. Our collective generation talks about retiring at 65, but this is starting to feel like calling it quits sooner than that. You sit there and think, maybe selling to a DSO to pay off the debt and put a little money in the bank, then just working clinically for a few years is the easiest way out. That's the answer, right? A way out? That's what we're looking for, isn't it? A way out? None of us who are high achievers ever like to admit that we were wrong, but sometimes you don't have much to point to that says you were right. That can be confidence shattering. In your depths of despair, you just need to talk to someone. You just need a sounding board. You need to feel like someone is in the foxhole with you. And then you realize there is no one in your business you can talk to. You're at the top of your org chart. You're responsible for all of it. You own it. You're the leader. They look to you. You don't look to them. Is this what being a real CEO is truly all about? That ever-present feeling of isolation? No one ever said anything about that. Are you not cut out for this leadership thing? Do you own the business or does it own you? For the first time in your life, you quietly start to ask yourself questions around what failure looks like. You've never failed at anything. Is this going to be it? And is your first real failure going to be total, catastrophic loss of everything you've worked for, including possibly your reputation? You don't have anyone to talk to. You don't have anyone else to lift you up. And you know it can't be your spouse, because as soon as you start to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, your spouse is immediately going to sit silently in abject fear of what it means for your family. And the negative spiral continues. So you're all alone. There have been times in my life when I've felt every ounce of every word I'm sharing with you. I remember a few of those times when I sat in the darkness of a small room in my home in the early morning gloom before sunrise. I remember once I was supposed to be leaving the house to go on a group cycling ride. It was about 4:45 in the morning, and I was sitting there dressed and ready to go. But my brain was kind of wobbly because I hadn't slept for the third night in a row. As Lucy and Elizabeth slept upstairs, I started dry heaving. Like my inside was trying to purge something out of my system, something that my mind had created, something of my own making that I could no longer control. Those of you listening to this fall into 3 groups. See which one you identify with. There are those who are late stage of your career who've confronted all of these thoughts and managed to survive, and you got through it somehow. And a lot of us aren't sure how we did it. The second group is a handful who are in the middle of it right now. And maybe my words start to make your gut churn or even bring tears to your eyes, because you don't have to know what I'm saying, you're feeling it. And the third group is those who are earlier stage of their career who can't relate to a word of it, at least not yet. My first group and my second group would tell that third group the following: when it comes, you're never going to be prepared for it either. In his book, Walden, the author Henry David Thoreau talks about, quote, the mass of men leading lives of quiet desperation, end quote. The mass of men leading lives of quiet desperation. The book describes the silent, unconscious suffering of individuals who suppress their true desires to conform to society's expectations, endless work, and material accumulation. Let me say that one more time. Individuals who suppress their true desires to conform to society's expectations of them, working endless hours for material accumulation. Does that sound familiar to any of you? It sure as hell did to me. Thoreau proposed an antidote to this silent suffering: radical simplification, contemplative living, and a conscious choice to live life deliberately rather than on autopilot. I did that. It took me about 5 years, and I can unequivocally tell each and every one of you it was worth every ounce of effort. And hear me clearly when I say the following: I have no regrets for what I decided to give up. I have no regrets for what I decided to give up, to walk away from. So, here's the pivot in this episode. Am I trying to brag? Am I admonishing you? No. The hero in this quagmire of a story isn't me. It's you. Yeah, you. You just don't realize it yet. You're too deep into it to see it clearly. Your problem is that you've already started to give up on you. I'm recording this episode in a last-ditch effort to correct that. You think your problems, your issues, your mid-career crisis are all unique to you. They aren't. Don't think you're that special. If my prior words reverberated inside of you, then there's proof that I've experienced it too. You're not that unique. You're not. You're just like the rest of us. So, do you want the answer? Do you want the lifeline, the magic formula, the quick fix? In my experience, it all began with me. Much like I realized, the start of the answer, the beginning of the road back, lies in each of you. And it's a willingness to stare yourself in the mirror, dead to rights, take full ownership of the fact that you hold the key to your prison cell here. You can unlock your cage. I did, and you can too. All of us as leaders love to wax eloquently about how we demand accountability of our team. This one is accountability to yourself. Literally, looking at yourself in the mirror and admitting that you're in a dark place or a deep hole, and that you're going to make changes necessary to get yourself out of it. That's liberating. Declare it. Tell someone you're going to make the changes necessary to create a better future for you. Write it in your journal, post it on social media. Hell, send me a text or an email. I don't care how you declare it or to whom you declare it, but put your flag in the ground and state that something's going to change. As a leader, you think you have to have the answers to the test before anyone even asks the question. In this case, you don't. When I say something has to change, you mistakenly think you have to know what that change is. You don't, because if you did, you would have changed it already. Give yourself the time, the space, and the grace to figure it out. How much time? However much you need. A week, a month, 90 days. My exit from Patterson took 2.5 years. My exit from Tusk took over a year. My exit from Polaris took about 90 days before I even brought it up to DeWalker, and then it was almost a year on top of that. You have more time than you think, so take it. If step 1 is to declare your intent to make a change for the better in the future, then step 2 is to assemble your personal board of advisors. For me, in each of those prior instances I referenced, my team was comprised of my financial advisor, my accountant, my business coach, and a key industry colleague whose work was adjacent to my own, but I valued and trusted their opinion. The questions I knew to ask were ones they could all answer. The questions I didn't know to ask were the ones they did. Your role as business owner and leader has created the isolation that's brought you to where you are. That same go-it-alone mentality won't get you out. Hey, I got news for you. There are people who are smarter than you and more experienced than you in the world. Figure out a way to get them on your team. Step 3 in your rescue plan is to grab a legal pad and a pen along with a strong cup of coffee. I haven't referenced coffee recently on the podcast for those of you long-term followers. Find a room and shut the door. Turn off your phone. For the next hour, take inventory of the following. 1. 10 years ago, how old were you? What were you doing in your personal life and in your career? What were some of the highs and some of the lows? What were your desires and dreams? What were your stresses and anxieties? Write it all down in a flood of unfiltered consciousness. This is really important for 2 reasons. 1, your confidence is probably at an all-time low right now, and it's the most important asset you have to rebuild in short order. 2, you've overcome a lot in your life, but you don't remember any of it. Forcing yourself to audit your own history will quickly prove to yourself how much you've overcome and that you have the ability to do it all again. Second piece on the legal pad is full inventory of where you are right now. Subjectively, what you're feeling, and objectively, the positive assets and the negative liabilities that you have. It's probably much more negative than positive, or else you wouldn't be where you are. Accept that. What are the debt burdens you have? Who are the people in your life that are weighing you down? Get all of that crap out and see it clearly. People, problems, obligations, all of it. Third part of the legal pad is where you want to be and what you want your life to look like in 5 years. Give yourself 5 years. You took 10 to 20 years to create this mess. You're not going to solve it in 2 weeks. Get specific. You're going to go through a process of radical simplification, so it should feel pretty uncomfortable. It was for me. My goal was to make 70% of the income with a business that would require around 20 hours per week and would have no partners, no employees, or payroll. I also would effectively lose my Marriott Elite status and my American Airlines Executive Platinum status because I'd only travel when I wanted to, not because I had to. Look, I'm about halfway through my own 5-year transformation, but I'm well on my way to making all of that happen. I was willing to walk away from a very successful company that I co-founded. I walked away from higher levels of income. I walked away from building a business that had increasing equity value to start one that essentially would have none. My life is simpler. My life is less stressful. My life is less chaotic. My life is better. What do you want yours to be? Whatever your answer is, just know that no one else can create it for you. You have a blank canvas, but only you can pick up the paintbrush. Hold yourself accountable to that. One of the 2 components of the Next Level Executive Program is called entrepreneurial leadership for a reason. It's based on my own personal lived experience. It's based on my own insights and internal wrestling matches I've had with myself. It's stuff like this. It's what I've learned thus far, and I'm a work in progress too. Based on all that scar tissue, here's what I know for me and for each of you. We're all truly blessed and privileged to be able to do the work we do for the people we serve. We also have the opportunity to create a business that complements our life and is congruent with the freedoms we seek: freedom of time, freedom of relationship, and freedom of purpose. My business serves that end for me, and yours can serve that same end for you as well. It's okay that many of you took unnecessary risks or grew too quickly or failed to operationally integrate practices you might have acquired. It's okay that you've turned over more associates than you should have. It's okay that things might not be where you want them to be right now. It's okay. You have a do-over. You can make a change, but that change has to start with you. In 1942, after a handful of years of getting its you-know-what kicked in every continent on the planet, the Allied army in Europe finally won a decisive battle to defeat the German army in North Africa at the Second Battle of a place called El Alamein. This was a pivotal point in World War II because the German Army, Navy, and Air Force had dominated every country it set its sights on for almost 4 years. With the Germans in retreat, Winston Churchill's response to the moment was measured. He said the following: "This is not the end, nor is it even the beginning of the end. No, this is only the end of the beginning." I'll say that again. This is not the end, nor is it even the beginning of the end. No, this is only the end of the beginning. Churchill knew the years of hard work that lay ahead, and he wanted everyone else to see that as clearly as he did. If you need to make a change, then be like Churchill and declare to yourself that this is the end of the beginning. It's your life. It's your business. Unlock your cage. Don't allow yourself to be isolated. Surround yourself with people you trust. Grab your legal pad and a coffee and get to work. Tomorrow is the first day of your comeback. If you're wondering what's next for you and your business, the answer is waiting for you on the Next Level Executive Podcast.